National Maritime Council says the Philippines will maintain a constant presence in Escoda or Sabina Shoal to prevent China from controlling it. NMC spokesman Vice Admiral Alexander Lopez says they will remain resolute and keep up presence there through patrols or other means. That's even after a China Coast Guard vessel deliberately rammed the Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Teresa Magbanwa 3 times on August 31st. Now, more recently, the AFP said it spotted 203 Chinese ships in the West Philippine Sea from August 27 to September 2, significantly higher than the previous week. 71 were spotted in Escoda Shoal, which were a mix of China Coast Guard vessels, maritime militia vessels, and People's Liberation Army warships.
Let's talk about this more. Joining us tonight in person is Armed Forces spokesperson Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla. Colonel Padilla, we are honored to have you here with us live on set.
Yes, I'm really honored to be here in person with you as well.
There's so much to talk about. Let's start off with the West Philippine Sea. As Riza just read, increased Chinese presence out in Escoda Shoal. There is a little bit of a talk that it might be the next flashpoint. What does the AFP think?
The numbers of the ships every week that we report, it really varies, no, from with different incidents and different conditions of the sea. In this case, because there was also an incident prior, we could not speculate when more vessels of the Chinese will be coming in different areas. But at any one time, they have scattered different vessels in different areas in the West Philippine Sea as well.
So walang trend, Colonel? There's been no trend of the number increasing every week. Is it kind of random?
Yes, it's kind of random. It's also seasonal and also depends on the weather. So there's different conditions. That's why we cannot actually speculate on when there will be more and when there will be less.
Nor is there an explanation as to why. Like, bakit dumadami? Like, why is there an increasing number of Chinese vessels?
From our side, from the point of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we can only presume different scenarios on certain instances that because of what transpired from previous week. But of course, we could not speculate from the Chinese side.
But as far as you know, at what point did it, the number of Chinese ships out there started hitting 200 or even 100? At what point did it start, coming up to those numbers?
Just in recent weeks, from previous reports that we've been giving, it's only fluctuating from 100, 120 plus, and all that, no? But this is one of the biggest numbers that we have also reported, yes.
The ramming incident on August 31st, both China side and Manila side obviously released images of it. Can be seen clearly that it was pretty deliberate, the collision. In terms of what the AFP can do about it, I know that there's the National Maritime Council already who's coordinating the intergovernment response to it. But as far as the AFP is concerned, what is the response? What is the appropriate response?
For all of these operations that's happening in the West Philippine Sea, we are in close coordination with the different agencies that are there, so BFAR and the Philippine Coast Guard. So we have also beefed up our presence in the area. We have allocated more vessels to patrol the area. So at any one time, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is there in the vicinity doing our patrols, both at sea and on the air.
So you're talking about the Armed Forces, the Air Force, sorry, and the Navy. So there's Navy boats, and then, of course, we heard about the flare incident, so we already know that the Air Force is kind of doing some patrols.
Yes, these are regular patrols that we're doing. So these are MARPAT missions that we do, maritime patrols. So we do it by air and by sea.
We have enough vessels to maintain presence there? I mean, we were just talking about this earlier, but it's a serious question. Do we have enough presence to match China's incursions there? Which, by the way, I will point out is well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone.
Yes, we do. Because we have been shifting from the internal security operations to territorial defense. So most of our resources are now allocated towards these missions in the West Philippine Sea.
And how is just a quick question on how AFP modernization is going? I know this has been going on for a while, but of course, as of late, with all the news that's been hitting us, there seems to be a need to kind of speed this up or fast track it. Is that being done, Colonel?
Yes, we're very appreciative with the government's trust to actually aid the AFP in our modernization efforts. So we are well on our way with our Horizon 2, and the Horizon 3 has been upgraded to Re-Horizon 3 projects. And the Re-Horizon 3 modernization actually has more focus on maritime and aerial defense capabilities, as well as cybersecurity.
Thank you. Nowadays, Colonel, when we talk about defense, it's not enough. We're not just talking about warships, warplanes, and tanks and guns, right? Or even missiles. We're talking cybersecurity. I did catch your talk recently, and I figured out you were actually a cybersecurity specialist. How does this tie in with the West Philippine Sea issue? Because why is the AFP minding cybersecurity, right? When we're talking about something that you can't see, like enemies that we can't see, we can't feel really.
Yes, we already have 4 domains of operations. From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we have the Department of National Defense has already declared cyber as the 4th domain of operations. So land, air, and sea, and cyber. And these operations are happening all at the same time, especially in the cyber domain. So if you look at the West Philippine Sea issue, there is that what they term as, from their end, gray zone tactics. In our case, we define this as their ICAD operations, illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive. And this also translates and goes towards cyber domain operations. So what we are saying is we are already at war at this point, but we are at war with words. It's he says, she says, so to speak, in this West Philippine Sea issue. So they keep on giving malign information out there.
You're talking about the fake news.
Yes, fake news, disinformation, misinformation, which leads to fake news. And so if this is actually being circulated online so much, it's like a lie said so much eventually becomes the truth. The truth. So that's something that they were actually trying to do in the cyber domain, and this is what we are really actually countering at this point.
How are you fighting that over at the AFP? I mean, this is not what people usually think that the armed forces does, right? So how do you exactly fight the spread of misinformation, disinformation?
In our case, AFP is just one player in this. Cyber is the concern of everyone. So we're really tapping to each and every individual to become more, yung natin sa mga kababayan natin, maging mapanuri sila sa mga nakikita nila. And how they would be able to help the Armed Forces of the Philippines is not to proliferate the wrong narrative out there. So if they see that kaduda-duda na yung mga lumalabas, and it's the narrative of the CCP, then they should not share it already or otherwise report it to proper authorities. Everything we try to discredit if we see that it's really actually fake news, But there are also certain sites that does this. They're fact checkers, so to speak. And so we have to coordinate with them in order to verify all of this information that's going out there.
But what does beefing up the cybersecurity domains mean specifically for the AFP? I know, for instance, some of our allied countries as well has been providing support financially as well as resource-wise, like the United States, UK, Australia as well. How do all of that translate to better cybersecurity defenses?
When we talk about the cyber, it's not just the fake news that we're talking about. It's also the hacking incidents that would have greater there have greater effects in terms of businesses and eventually effects in the economy. And so we also have seen a trend of different attacks that were happening in different agencies and institutions and government agency sites. So all of this, that's what we're trying to mitigate at this point. And it's an all hands on deck thing, so to speak, as we work with the ICT and other agencies also, including our business sector like the telcos, and actually try to mitigate these attacks from happening.
Is there money for better equipment, better software? more skilled people?
Training.
Yeah,
Yes, this is all
training.
part of modernization projects. And over and above that, we are also trying to strengthen our alliances. And with that, with our bilateral and multilateral partnerships with other like-minded nations, cyber is also one part of it. So when we see the exercises that we're doing now, even the Balikatan exercises, there are also cyber exercises that are also being conducted right now.
So those are the parts that we don't see on video. Nothing is exploding in the sea.
Yes,
And,
yes.
but I just want to ask, when you mentioned, of course, there's threat actors, these hacking incidents, do you have a sense of where they're coming from? Are they coming from inside here already? Have they penetrated the Philippines? Are they actually somewhere in the country? Is it coming from outside? Because when you're talking about the internet, it's so easy to, cross borders just like that.
Yes, there's a lot at stake. Of course, we have intrusion detection system, which is different from intrusion prevention. So one is to detect and one is to prevent. And we have all of these systems in place. And of course, we are looking at there are also in the news where we were able to capture a certain individual who has hacking equipment. So all of this, we conduct an investigation together with the NBI, the PNP, and the ICT to look at all of this equipage on what is the purpose and what is the intended use for such equipment. So all of these things, and we also have this site that was once placed out there that was trying to recruit active and retired and those who have military backgrounds in order to give data about...
Is that true?
Did they succeed?
No, the site was eventually taken down.
Okay.
So it was immediately detected.
We heard about that too, yes.
Yes, so we conducted an investigation on that, and then we have tried to see who were possible contacts and those who were possibly applying for such. And so these are all the things that we're trying to mitigate.
What about, for instance, a few weeks or even months ago, there was one of the big news items we carried was Senator Amy Marcos saying there was a hypersonic missile threat from China. What about those kinds of claims? Nothing came off it as far as we know. I don't know if there's a real threat of hypersonic missiles, but a lot of people have debunked it already. Is there a, is there any effort from the part of authorities to try to track down where it came from?
All of these things, we have dedicated units to investigate and check the veracity of all of the reports. And so we actually appreciate any report that our kababayans are giving us. No? In the side of the AFP, we cannot do this alone. We cannot also be there anywhere at any one time. So we actually encourage for most of our kababayans to tell us anything that they see that is quite something that we should act upon. And we will be doing the necessary investigations accordingly, as we have dedicated units for those. We actually created new units, intelligence units, to beef up our operations.
Do we not publicize about these units so that, these threat actors are not immediately alerted that there are operations targeted against them?
Yes, we do. Everything is published in the AFP website. And we also have regular press conferences every Tuesday. It's a regular thing. Anything that we engage upon, create a new unit, we publicize it accordingly.
Has the AFP been roped into this whole Alice Guo case? I mean, obviously, it's, per the senators, it's bigger than anyone thought. It doesn't just involve the Bamban operations, not just the PORAC operations, but there is an undercurrent here of, we could be up against syndicates, right? There's even some foreign media that have reported that Alice Guo could be a Chinese spy, right?
So, or even the Quadcom that are trying to connect EJKs with drugs, with the POGOs. And
what's AFP's involvement in all of this?
Yes, Reg. AFP is actually part of the PAO. No? And in all of these things, anything that's happening, as long as it involves national security, the AFP is always a part of it. So any operation that they conduct, the AFP is willing and always ready to augment in terms of anything that we can assist if it's law enforcement. There are, of course, certain agencies that are front lines in certain operations. But in this, because it's national security, the AFP is directly involved.
Quick clarification, what is the difference between the PNP and the AFP when it comes to, for example, these raids against POGOs conducted by PAO? Because they're the body that conducts the raids, right? So what would be the difference between the roles of the police and the AFP?
In any law enforcement operation, it's the police who takes the lead or the NBI. And we play a supporting role as to whether they need augmentation from our troops, intelligence efforts, investigations we also conduct. So we are all in this. It's a whole of government, so to speak, approach in terms of investigating and conducting operations in terms of illegal activities related to POGOs.
And so as far as Alice Go is concerned, does the AFP have any better sense of whether she is part of a larger syndicate or not?
As I said, the investigation is being conducted and we're part of it. So any role that the AFP will play moving forward, we are ever ready to assist.
So it's going to be, at the end of the day, you know, whatever findings there are will be announced by PAO.
PAO.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, we should ask PAO.
Regarding Alice Go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We've run out of time. We could talk to you longer, but unfortunately that's all we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us again. Armed Forces spokesperson Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla.